Good morning and welcome. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living right here in beautiful Fullerton, California. My name is Tomoko Rosas and I'm a practitioner at this beautiful spiritual center. Please join me in stating our purpose statement. We are a loving spiritual community empowering all to live healthy and successful lives through practicing the principles of science of mind. Before we get started, I have 2 announcements. Today we have a wonderful guest speaker, John Odden. Reverend John Odden is back with us again this Sunday, filling in for Reverend Bill. And Reverend Bill and Beverly will be back next Sunday. Join us for bingo. If you have not signed up for bingo after service today, please do. We always have a lot of food and lots of fun. Spiritual Growth Support Group is ongoing on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. And that is an open spiritual support conversation. It's been wonderful the last since we started in February, it's been growing and it's been really, really good. So please, if you can, join us for that. Our next accredited class that will be offered on Wednesday evenings is Essential Earnest Tomes, and that is a 2nd-year class. So you would have to have a basic of Science of Mind class first in order to be able to get into that class. But if you're interested, please let me know in the sign-up sheets at the welcome table. And we do need 4 students to be in that class to open it up. So the starting date will be announced. That's it for me, and I'm going to pass it on.
I need to be still and let God love me. I need to be still and let God love me. When this old world starts to push and shove me, I need to be still and let God love me.
Let's begin our service now simply in gratitude as we invoke the presence of Spirit right here, right now, in this very room. And we are grateful for so many things today as we turn within and are thankful for the ability to simply be here and be present, connecting with God, the Divine Spirit, and with our church family, for we are one. We are loved, we are happy, and we are healthy, and we are whole. And we are ready to play bingo today. And we thank and bless everyone who has made this service possible for us to enjoy. There are blessings for my fellow practitioners who hold us all in love and prayer. Blessings for the Board of Trustees, the musicians, our coffee fellowship, and for the children and the teachers of our junior church, and for Tomoko for all she does in the office and the bookstore and her classes. And we're grateful for everyone that's here today and at home. And we also bless and thank Reverend John Odden for joining us today. And I know that we will all be inspired and lifted by his message. And with gratitude, I thank God for this time we have together, and I release this prayer into the law, knowing it's already done. And so it is. Today, I have a reading from Florence Scovil's Shin. And this is from her book, Your Word is Your Wand. And because we're all going to be playing bingo today, I thought maybe we could use a little magic. And and some prosperity advice from Florence. Man's word is his wand, filled with magic and power. Jesus, the Christ, emphasized the power of the word. By thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. And death and life are in the power of the tongue. So, man has power to change an unhappy condition by waving over it the wand of his word. In the place of sorrow appears joy, and in place of sickness appears health, and in the place of lack appears plenty. For example, a woman once came to me for a treatment for prosperity. All she had in the world was just $2. And I said to her, let us bless that $2 and know that you have the magic purse of the Spirit. It can never be depleted. As money goes out, immediately money comes in, under grace and in perfect ways. And I see your purse bulging with abundance. I see it crammed and jammed with money, green bills, silver and gold currency, pink and blue checks. It's full. And she replied, I feel my bag heavy with money. And she was so filled with the faith that she gave me one of her $2 as a love offering. Well, I did not dare refuse it, because that would see lack for her. And I knew it was important that I hold the picture of plenty. Shortly afterwards, she contacted me and told me that she had been given a gift of $6,000. Fearless faith and the spoken word brought it to pass. And so remember, the affirmation of the magic purse is very powerful. It brings a vivid picture to the mind. It is impossible not to see your purse or wallet filled with money when you are using the words crammed and jammed. The imaging faculty is the creative faculty, and it is important to choose words which bring a flash of the fulfillment of the demand. Jesus Christ said, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And this means that man must know the truth of every situation which confronts him. And there is no truth in lack or limitation. You wave the wand of your word, and the wilderness rejoices and blossoms as the rose. And now, please join me in prayer. Simply knowing and sensing that God is the one universal power and presence, and that power is unlimited, and we each express that power and that love and that connectedness to the one mind. We are one in spirit. And recognizing that oneness, I know that today is filled with blessings of love, laughter, joy, and abundance. Our purses and wallets are overflowing with good and plenty to go around. We know that God is our source. And I release this prayer knowing it is already handled and already done, and so it is.
I did and truth gave me light. Dawn changed the dark into day. There's so much more than ever before, and I can go on, come what may. Now my life is new. I am all right again. What had been a world of shadows and grays has now turned right again. And millions of colors and hues are now inside again. Truth gave me light. My life is new. I won't go back now to where I had been. I know what I need to do. Now my life is new. I am all right again. What had been a world of shadows and grays has now turned right again. And millions of colors and hues are now inside again. Truth gave me light. My life is new. Truth gave me light. My life is new.
Richard and Tommy with a duo. And now it's time for us to introduce our guest speaker, Reverend John Odden. And we're so happy to have him back again. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Good morning, Center for Spiritual Living, Fullerton. What a day. Wow. Thank you, Carol, for the very warm introduction. And especially my heart goes to Tommy and Richard. And I noticed that the last solo we enjoyed lyrics and music by Richard. And I brought the right talk for that. I feel very fortunate in that way. It's always an honor when Reverend Bill is away, and he asks if I might be able to come by and share a little bit, because it's a boost and a thrill for me to spend time with you. Under the theme this month of welcoming new life, as you all got started with that spring cleaning, last week I spoke a little bit about where do we go to find eyes to see what might be my new life, our new life. And today I'm going to spend just a little bit of time on that fine little thing about stepping into it. After all, it could be that new life starts to happen, and it's like we're in the theater with popcorn or sitting on our sofa at home munching popcorn, right? And we see the new life happening, but we're spectators and we're not in it. We're not watching it. Goodness sakes, what if it was my new life and somebody else was in it? Not me. Hey, what about that? So there's imagining that new life, finding that mental space, that heart space, to invest in it and call it forward and play with it and see what it might be and begin to give it some energy. And then there's that final step that sometimes can feel a little daunting about how do we step into that new life? What is that like? And, you know, it's my take that if we've imagined a new life, if we're looking to realize what's in our heart, it's the actual shift into living in it that is really, it's everything. It's the difference between a wish, a dream, and for goodness sakes, a life. And to me, New Thought is about a new approach to living the life that we know in our hearts is worthy and capable and real for us. So how do we actually understand that, taking the step a little bit and find ways to put it in mind and move on it? I'll go, hopefully I'm not surprising you, I'll go to Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind, as he was looking at how do you integrate what we know from ancient wisdom in our hearts, as well as the fields of science that were bubbling up in the early 1900s. And what he said on page 151, talking about prayer, which is an aspect of any shift into new life or a change in life. There is a place in us which lies open to the infinite. But when the Spirit brings its gift, by pouring itself through us, it can only give us what we take. It can only give us what we take. This taking is what? This taking is mental. If we persist in saying life will not give us that which is good, God will not answer my prayer, it cannot. For life must reveal itself to us through our intelligence. Through our intelligence. The pent-up energy of life and the possibility of future human evolution work through man's imagination and will. Through our imagination and will. The time is now. The place is where we are. And it is done unto us as we believe. So if you're following along from last week and remembering any of what I said about finding those eyes by turning away from duality and separation and investing in oneness and spirituality and realizing that the life that we have as humans is the point at which each of us is present with the mystery, the infinite, the divinity, the Spirit, right? That's the point. Then it's that mental action to welcome and accept and move into whatever emerges that opens the door. So that does involve the necessity to commit. It may involve making a choice of this versus that, or taking that step even when there might be a part back in the back of my mind that says, don't walk off the end of the earth, dude. It could be a big fall. Have you ever felt that, right? And then we move into it by committing and expanding and just stepping on into it. So what is that? Is that new with earnest, a new thought, this idea about what it takes to activate and live into the possibility of the new life that we can co-create? Let's go way back. Sometimes I have fun going into the prophets of the Old Testament. You know, they were here before the era of Christ. And in fact, it's interesting to me, I'm going to use Isaiah, that if they had LinkedIn and resumes in those days, what would Isaiah's resume say? What was his role? Prophet. And who was he prophet for? Several kings. I don't know that they have a job posting today for we need a prophet. Not like that. It's a little bit different. But he was a prophet. And indeed, the prophets would write letters, and the letters would find their ways around, and some of them made it all the way through to today in the modern Bible, as we know it. Even more interesting as I looked to learn a little bit more about Isaiah, the book of Isaiah had some discussion about, is it one author or two? But that was based on the notion that the first 39 chapters were known to scholars as the book of judgment. And, you know, this is a new thought. We're not going to dwell a lot on judgment for any purpose here today. But the chapters 40 through 66, the book of comfort. A prophet writing on comfort. And first I'll give a small taste from chapter 43, verses 18 and 19. Again, we're talking about the possibility, the actuality, and what does it take to imagine some new life and to step into it, to have it, claim it, live it. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. And I think that's what we're going to have with this super bloom. We've had all that precipitation, and now we're going to have streams in the wasteland. But just imagine that, a prophet writing in the era like 700 BC, giving that as a prophecy and advice and an encouragement to those who were the faithful that would read his letters. Or another one where he's, amazing to me, he wasn't writing in modern English, it wasn't how they spoke. And there's Aramaic Bible and various translations, but I'm sharing from an English translation, but I find Isaiah poetic. Because listen to Isaiah right there at the start of the books of comfort in Isaiah chapter 40, starting from verse 27. Why do you complain, Jacob? Why do you say, Israel, my way is hidden from the Lord, my cause is disregarded by my God? Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, in his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. So just take in the poetic power of what he's saying, that as the human connects with the spiritual infinite presence within, comes the strength, the resilience, the ability to take a step and have it instantly be as powerful as it needs to be. Because that's our power. It's in us. We just have to say yes, receive it, and be a vessel for it to move. To get a little bit more of a kind of a new thought perspective on this, turn to Charles Fillmore, known among many things as the author of the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, where his insight on Isaiah is that Isaiah signifies the understanding that deliverance, abundant supply, spirituality, and all other forms of good come to man through his higher self, the spiritual I am. That's his perspective as he was studying and writing, that it all comes there. No, it doesn't show up on the porch from Amazon.com. That's a manifestation downstream. The actual source of the stuff that's generated is at its core spiritual before it manifests. And that's why I would submit to you that stepping into our new life is first a spiritual task. A spiritual task. So what does that mean, and how about new life? So let's say we were interested in new life. Is it like going to the new life banquet? We all have an assigned place, and then we have to look at our ticket. This is not about the bingo tickets, right? Get your bingo ticket for the raffle. But do we look at our ticket at the banquet of new life, and do we say, oh, did I get beef, chicken, or vegan option? Not at all like that. It's about having unbounded prayers and inspiration and imagination, and then connecting up with a spirit that's not handing out tickets at the table for a set menu. It's about imagining, dreaming, connecting, working, developing, and then doing the unimaginable in some cases, or going to places that aren't necessarily what was expected. To just imagine the possibility of surging ahead in a couple different examples that make it poignant for me, and I hope are a little bit fun and give you a sense of enthusiasm for stepping into the new life as you sense it, when you sense it, which should be kind of like all the time. That's my goal, all the time. Think back to the racehorse Secretariat, known for winning the Triple Crown. And it was that final race, 1.5 miles on dirt, that in 1973 established a world record that stood for a long time. And whether you watch the calling of the race because it's available on YouTube, or you watch the movie and the way that's portrayed, and I just imagine that they were wondering, can this horse do it? Can the Secretariat have the will, the strength, and the perseverance to win the Triple Crown? And just recall the call of the race around the first few poles towards what? 1.5 miles on dirt. A long sprint for a thoroughbred. And then the announcer's saying, Secretariat is pulling away. And at the tape, winning by what? 31 lengths. You know, usually if you've ever go to a horse race down to Del Mar or Santa Anita, it'll be by a nose. A nose. 31 lengths, just by leaning in and going for it. And to me, in part, that's why sometimes that stepping into new life can be daunting, because we get that feeling that it could be a big deal. It could be a big deal. But hey, are we partnered with Spirit? Is it worthwhile? And what's our purpose? To do the deal however big it is, just so it's good and our choice? Or stick our toe in the water? And you can stick your toe in the water and the world can swim right by. That can happen. Or how about the athlete, Bob Beamon? I recall him being in the long jump in '68, I was a teenager, the Olympics in Mexico City, and he went up there and took off and he started flying, and they're watching him go. He sailed right past 8.35 meters, and clean landing 8.90 meters, a margin of 22.5 inches that he established in '68, and for Olympic records, that one lasted till '91. Because he just like took off and flew. And there's people who will say, he had some wind at his back, or the altitude was an advantage, but they adjust for all of that when they decide on what they call the Olympic record. And there it was, he took off and he flew. So we can, just doing what we thought we were going to do, we can fly forward further. When we connect with Spirit, we take the big step. And if it feels like this is the big step, take it. Take it. And then see where we go. Don't stare at what was believed to be possible, but look at landing safely where you can, and then going further. What would that be like? And in order to get into the emotion of it, first I suggest we think about some of our favorite artistic creations. You know, Richard, lyricist, composer, and that song. Look, what songs have lit you up and really called to you? Or how about a movie, a book, some art, something that really called to you? Look at the way humans bonded with Spirit can put out amazing creativity, and it calls to the goodness and the Spirit in us. Think of the ones that call to you. Or to give it a different context, here's a recent example taken from, in Orange County, a local supermarket checkout line, where on a recent day, the store, known for having a challenge getting a full staff to come in and having surges in the number of people who felt good to shop that day, had some lines that were kind of backed up, and people started getting scrunched up. And towards the checkout, people were beginning to get to be a little grumbly, and some people thought they, heard or smelled the first wisps of fiery temper, possibly beginning to seep out of some of the adults packed in at the front. And then there was a question of, will this be another unpleasant customer service experience, or what? What will happen? And then suddenly a voice said, just be kind. Just be kind. And then the energy shifted and everyone calmed down, and the checker was able to scan everything through and get people on their way. And the whole trajectory of that time shifted. And people didn't really react, they weren't reactive, except one person looked back, saw the person who voiced the words, just be kind, and said to that youngster, how old are you? And the response that came back with a big smile was, I'm 3 years old. So sometimes we wonder, what's up with the world? Is it going to be good? Is it going to get worse? Do we have the possibility to get better? And I really think there's examples like that all over, that when love and purity and that connection with Spirit is within humans and it gains voice, it can be just anywhere And indeed, sometimes it's the need for love and kindness that calls it forward. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing by me. Now let's pivot again and look into adventurers and frontiers. You know, not just running faster, leaping further, or being a little bit kinder when things get a little bit tough, but actually brand new frontiers. Like imagine Christopher Columbus, right? And he set out for the New World, and he got sponsorship at a time when there were a lot of learned people who were pretty busy calculating at what point he and his little fleet of wooden vessels were going to just sail off the edge of the earth and be gobbled up by monsters and demons. Now, he went off, and his thing was, I believe differently. I have a sense that I will find a better route to get over to India and Asia so we can trade spices and do all the things that world trade was going to grow up and become. And instead, he bumped into a whole new world. Found there's an Americas out there. We wouldn't be in like any United States of America if we weren't here, or perhaps even if Columbus had no sponsorship and the people who said there's an end and there's monsters and demons had prevailed. This could still be just all undeveloped. Or in our American history, what happened when Lewis and Clark went out? You know, they were on a charter to go explore the North American West. And they had a particular tasking to find the all-water route to the Pacific Ocean. There wouldn't be a Panama Canal today if they had succeeded in what they were told to do, right? Wouldn't have needed it. You take that all-water route. Well, they did not find that, but did they find anything else while they were out advancing boundaries of knowledge and so forth? How about 122 species of animals previously unknown, 178 species of plants, and numerous Native American nations. Not one or two, numerous Native American nations. You know, the awareness of the people trying to build a nation at that time included none of that to that extent until Lewis and Clark went out and came back with their report, their discoveries. So let's go back again and check in with Ernest Holmes on that process of the how-to, of moving from our belief to actually benefiting from the birth mentally, the connection with spirit, the new thing that we might do. On page 318, he gives us this. This is only the starting point. What good is the possibility until it is used? What good is knowledge unless we make practical application of it? Therefore, we must definitely speak our conviction in concrete form in mind. A treatment should always be definite, specific, concrete. In a practical treatment, one does not become subjective. The creative act is always conscious. In other words, a treatment moves in thought, sets something in motion, is an active thing, just like that step into our new life. Or to take it a different way, you know, I'll go to the wit, I think he's a wit, and some of it's pretty good wit, George Burns, who gives us this. There's an old saying, life begins at 40. That's silly. Life begins every morning when you wake up. And I'd say we could even ratchet that and adjust it to the modern era. Life begins every moment. If suddenly you're thinking like, well, wait a minute, the way this is evolving doesn't suit, it can be better, take that step. Take that step. It's really about being awake, rising up, taking the step, pick up a new book, grab a pen and paper, make that call, send that message. If you sense that indeed there's a spiritual universe and it's alive at your fingertips, listen, respond, move. So as we awaken to that new life and we imagine some definite steps forward, I'd like to close with a little bit of, I'll call it a responsive reading. where I'll say a couple things. I'll say something out loud and invite you to say it with me if that works for you. Okay. So as we lift ourselves into that greater experience and move into the spiritual life and the expanded life that's ours to claim, here's a statement that you might want to affirm with me. I'll say it once and then you can join me the second time. I am receiving my great new life now. I am receiving my great new life now. I am welcoming and stepping into rewarding new possibilities. I am welcoming and stepping into rewarding new possibilities. I am confident and generous as I open my heart. I am confident and generous as I open my heart. And so it is. Amen. Bless you. Thank you for sharing this time with me.
Thank you so much for being here today. And this is our opportunity to share our abundance. And we know that our good comes from the one source, God. And for this we are grateful. Hey, and we bless these tithes, these offerings. We know that they come from a grateful heart and that they go forward and do good in this community and in the world. And so it is.
Open up your mind, conceive it. Tell yourself you can achieve it. Just tap into your soul, believe it. When you start from the heart, you're a part of your imagination. There's more here in store. When you soar through your imagination, come alive, you will thrive and arrive in your imagination. You will feel simply real inspiration. If you want to find happiness, wake the dreams asleep within you. Find the power deep within you. Share the love you keep within you. No pick, take your pick in the thick of your imagination. Understand life is grand in the land of your imagination. Take a trip and you'll flip. When you dip in your imagination, you create really great expectations. If you want to be limitless, open up your mind and conceive it. Tell yourself just tap into your soul, believe it. There is no life I know to compare with your imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
Are we ready? All right, here we go. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is happening in my mind.
It is happening in my mind.
It is happening in my body.
It is happening in my body.
It's happening in my affairs.
It's happening in my affairs.
I think it.
I think it.
I know it.
I know it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I see it.
I see it.
I accept it.
I accept it.
Thank you, God, in